Okay, over the last couple of weeks, we've had ongoing protest activity outside of Old Parliament House. Earlier today, Old Parliament House was evacuated due to a fire being lit by protesters outside the front doors. ACT Fire and Rescue attended and extinguished the fire. The matter is now subject to ongoing investigation, and it appears Old Parliament House may remain closed in the foreseeable future. I will hand over to Superintendent Sam Evans from ACT Fire and Rescue.
Thanks, Linda. At 11:36 this morning, ACT Fire Rescue received notification of a fire here at Old Parliament House. That notification was via the activation of an automatic fire alarm, multiple O calls and a report from ACT Policing. Fire Rescue responded with multiple resources for a structure of this size. On arrival, found the front facade of the building well alight. Fire control was achieved within 15 to 20 minutes. There has been no fire extension inside the structure, although the installation sprinkler system within the building did activate. There is water and smoke damage inside the structure, but no fire damage within the structure. It has been confined to the front facade of the building. Fire Rescue are still on scene. Hazardous Materials Unit is still undertaking atmospheric monitoring to ensure that the atmosphere within inside the building is safe.
I'll also introduce you to Andrew Harper from the Australian Museum of Democracy.
Thank you. Obviously we're devastated about the damage that has happened to the building, and as the police have outlined, there is significant damage to the front doors of the building, which we'll need to assess over the next few days. There's also significant damage to the portico above the front steps, and so we'll be doing a clean-up over the next few days with the water and assessing damage, and we will be closed for some time. We're not sure how long yet, but as soon as we can, we'll be back open and sharing this iconic building with the public again. But we're very, very concerned about the damage today. Thank you.
Talk about the water and smoke damage inside. How extensive is that through the building? Is it just in King George's Hall, or is it with the alarms activated?
Further on. Just right up to the microphone. Alarm down here.
The smoke damage and water damage within inside the structure is yet to be fully assessed. However, as my understanding, it is within the footprint of the building that is closest to that front facade area.
Superintendent, just give us a bit of a picture. I mean, is this a difficult fire to control?
Not really. The fire itself was relatively small in that it is contained to the outside of the structure. It was a normal response to a normal fire of this size. This is a significantly historic building, but it was a normal response for a fire within a structure of this size, and fire control was achieved quite quickly. When the sprinklers activate inside, they do discharge a significant amount of water, and that's where the water damage comes from.
How difficult is your job to do with demonstrators right up close to the building?
ACT Fire Rescue personnel, we will respond, and we undertake our operations regardless of the circumstances of onlookers or any protest activity. We achieved our objective of achieving fire control within the shortest possible timeframe.
Did it hinder that at all, though, the demonstrators?
I won't comment on that at this stage. That'll be a matter for ACT Policing and their investigation, but I have no reports that fire rescue staff were significantly hindered, no.
Commander, there's been a number of claims from the protesters that police used pepper spray and that exacerbated the fire. So first of all, was pepper spray used? And secondly, what can you tell us about what effect that might have had on what was initially a small fire?
ACT Police did use a small amount of pepper spray. It does not have an accelerant. It is water-based, and it had no effect on the fire.
Could have contributed, though, by knocking over something which was already burning, or perhaps because the fire that was perhaps already there wasn't being controlled?
My understanding is the pepper spray actually wasn't used near the fire, so it was subsequent to when they were moving people away from it.
What can you tell us about what activities were taking place in the front steps there just before this fire started?
There was a small smoking ceremony, and that is something that we had agreed with a lot of the members who were attending each day as part of a peaceful protest. It then became a little bit out of hand, and then when ACT police went to respond, that's when it was greatly exasperated.
What does your intelligence tell you about the group responsible for this demonstration? Was it a group responsible? Was it just individuals?
The matter is still under investigation, unfortunately, so until we know more, I'd rather not comment on that.
Were any officers or anybody injured during the demonstration?
No significant injuries occurred.
And no arrests?
Not as yet, although the investigation is still underway, and should we find those responsible, they will be prosecuted.
And you mentioned that there has been peaceful protests taking place for some time, so why did it escalate today?
That's what we're looking into, and that's part of the investigation.
Do we think this demonstration was linked to the demonstration which saw similar damage to the front of the building a few days ago?
Again, I think it's too early to actually comment on something like that whilst it's under investigation.
Is it likely there'll be further demonstrations at the front of Parliament House, Old Parliament House?
We will continue talking to the members of the public that we've been talking to and the protesters. We'll be monitoring. If there is peaceful demonstrations, we fully support that. If there's any criminal activity, we'll be taking action.
Perhaps a question for you. The Minister, Ben Morgan, has put out a statement saying that the chair of the board assured him that, that they were aware that these protests were being planned and that all the suitable preparations have been done. Do you think that there was any more that could have been done, I guess, is the question.
Look, I guess that will, at this point I would say no, but we will need to look further and into, as the investigation happens, whether there's anything else that could have been done, but at this stage, no.
There's damage to the building. Is there damage to the collection within the building at all?
Well, we haven't been able to access back in yet to assess that, so don't know. But I think, as indicated, most of the fire was at the front, and the water is in that front part of the building. So there's areas that we think will be quite okay, and there's other areas we'll be checking as soon as we can.
As to the building itself, is it sort of irreparable damage from what you can see at this point?
Don't know.
Have we lost anything of cost?
Well, look, the front doors are original front doors from 1927, so they're an iconic part of the building. I don't know yet as to whether they'll be salvageable or not.
It must be pretty disappointing for somebody who's
It is.
responsible for caring for it.
Absolutely, yes. And of course, our primary concern is with safety, and that's what we've dealt with today, and then we'll get to the recovery of the building and care of it as soon as we can.
Bit of a busy time of the year, I guess, for all tourist attractions around Canberra. Likely that you're going to be shut for some time, do you think?
Look, we're not sure at this stage. I would say at least a few days, and then we'll be letting everyone know as soon as we can open again.